Okay, so the class is being recorded. Good afternoon, everyone. This is me again, Dr. Sam, and we're doing K to 38. Like I said, uh, over the last couple of meetings, we spoke about the course and what we are in for, and we even started both the background to the age and one of the plays. The play that we have done not completely because we're finishing it off today, is Othello, and Othello is full of very interesting ideas. We started off by giving you the background to the age. We spoke about the period between the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, and we said that we have this kind of shift from religion to science, from religious knowledge to secular knowledge, spoke about a number of tenets and ideals that were circulating at the time, spoke about the idea of the chain of being, spoke about the idea of established order and the fact that you have to follow and comply with this kind of order. And what happens if you deviate from this established order, if you challenge the established order, obviously that wouldn't be without dire consequences. You have to suffer accordingly. And this is what we have seen with Othello and the Duchess of Malfi. Remember that the established order would be that there is a hierarchy that everybody has to honor and respect. The hierarchy would say that there is a king on top, and you have the nobles, and then you have middle class until you reach the commoners. Correspondingly, you would have, in terms of races, you have the white race, and then you have other races coming down in the hierarchy. So, what happens if a man of color decides to kind of mix with people who are white, and even going further than that and falling in love with a white lady? This is violating and challenging the established order, and obviously uh, um, he has to kind of pay for that. We have seen that with Othello. And we also spoke about the Duchess of Malfi, where on top of the hierarchy, you have the Duchess or the Queen. Um, she is a widow and she decides to get married. And instead of marrying from within her rank, she decides to get married to one of the commoners. And this is obviously subverting the established order, and she will have to pay for that. Uh, and obviously, she wouldn't get away with it. Are you familiar with these ideas? Because we've been talking about them for quite some time now. Clear? Are things clear to you? The background of the
Yes.
age and how it is reflected in the play that we have taken so far?
Yes. Yes,
Othello.
yes. Until now,
So,
it's clear.
right.
Yes, doctor.
Let, let me ask you about Othello. How much do you know about Othello? I'll give you perhaps 3 minutes. We need volunteers. If you want 2 marks, okay, remember the participation and attendance marks are out of 5. If you want 2 marks today, I would like you to come to the mic and talk about Othello, related to the background of the age, related to the ideas of the age, and you are on your way. Can somebody do that? Are you interested in 2 marks today? Things that I said over the past week. Remember, we met twice and we spoke a lot in the background and how the background is reflected in the play. Is that asking too much?
No, Othello. I can speak a little.
Yeah, go ahead.
Othello is from Moors, which is a black group, and they are not accepted in the community as for marriage. Um, he was he loved a lady from upper class, an elite class, and this is not acceptable that time.
Okay.
Am I true or not?
Yeah, you're correct. Go on. There is obviously more to, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
You,
doctor.
yeah, can we have somebody else, Hassan?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
May I
because
ask, Hassan, I think one of your colleagues was kind of raising her hand. But let's start with her and come back to you, Hassan.
no problem, sir.
Okay. Shahla, I think. Go ahead.
Yes. Othello, the play is set in motion when Othello, a heroic, dark skinned general and survive of Venus, appoint Casco and not Iago as his chef, lieutenant,
Okay. Go on.
and Iago, jealous of Othello, Othello's success, and envious of
Cassio.
Cassio, sorry, and Iago plots Othello down fully. He's a jealousy of Othello, and yeah, that's it.
Scattered ideas. I mean, obviously not very consistent. I wouldn't give you 2 marks for that, Yani. Be more prepared than that, and I'm reserving the 2 marks for you, Asha. Can we have some? Hassan, Hassan, go ahead.
Yes, doctor. Also, as you said the last class a week ago, you said if the black man he married the white woman is not acceptable, so maybe he will that lady she will killed because not that mean is not okay. Different color.
Okay. Thank you, Hassan.
Yes.
Noor, Noor,
Yes, doctor.
go ahead, you know.
Othello considered from a black guy he called the Moor, which is a group of Northern African. He loved a white lady from elite upper class. This love made has an consequences. For example, he killed,
Hassan, mute your mic, please. Hassan, mute.
Sorry, doctor.
Okay, yeah.
which made in the final he killed her. Uh, it's according to hierarchy system. It's strange and complicated to fall in love from different classes.
Okay,
That's
good. Okay. So again, we're talking about hierarchies. We're talking about people respecting this kind of hierarchies. Um, Again, if you don't do that, if you don't honor the tradition or the idea of established order, you have to suffer because of that. Let me share my slides. Today, inshallah, we're finishing off Othello so that next time we can start the Duchess of Malfi. Let me share. I have, and we are on our. So can you see that?
yes.
Yes.
Can I ask you, I need a volunteer. I need somebody to create a WhatsApp group for us for
Okay,
easy.
It's
okay.
already, Doctor.
So you guys have a group already, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
No, no, it's general group, doctor.
No, we need a group for 8 to 30A. Okay.
There is one.
Right.
Yes, we have a group.
Right. If it's exclusive to 8 to 30A, please add me to the group. Uh, okay. Anyway, um, I'm sharing my, for some reason. Yes. Okay. And just remember, we spoke about all of that, right? At the background of the age. And we started chapter one, impediments to love. And we even finished um, uh, I mean, chapter. And then we're moving now to the second chapter, chapter two, honesty and difference, men and women. Remember, we said where? How did we start the play? Let me put it in another way. How many places do we have? How many cities do we have?
Two. Two
Yeah.
cities.
What are they?
Venice in Italy
Yeah, Venice
and
and
Africa.
Cyprus.
yeah, Cyprus.
Okay. Okay. So, and we started where? Did we start in Cyprus?
No, in Venice.
Yeah. And which is better than the other, Cyprus or Venice?
Cyprus.
Yeah. Cyprus is better than Venice.
No, Venice.
Obviously, you didn't do any reading. You didn't do any um, anything, obviously, which is bad enough. So we're doing chapter two, and this is honesty and difference, men and women. And we're having this shift. We're moving from Venice to Cyprus, and we said with the shift in place, we also have shift of moods, shift of focus. Um, we said that Venice is kind of is a symbol of stability, is a symbol of culture and civilization, while Cyprus is a coastal city or country where you have the sea, and with the sea come a lot of unpredictable things. Talk about storms. You talk about uh, destruction. And okay, so my other question is why the move? Why are they moving from Venice to Cyprus?
To not damage the city. To be
Excuse
far.
me. To what? To what?
To not damage the city.
Why? Why would they damage the city?
Because of the war.
Yeah, you mean there was a war
Yeah.
coming up, the impending danger of a war. So instead of waiting for the enemy to come over to Venice, they wanted to go and face this enemy in Cyprus. So if I say that Cyprus is a coastal city, it means that it has a sea. So it means that the enemy is coming from land or from the sea?
See.
From the sea. Okay. And we said that the associations, the ideas and the meanings that come to our mind when we mention the word sea are not always good. We talk about storms, we talk about very tough waves, we talk about the danger of drowning, right? Destruction. Okay. Um, so who is moving? Are we talking about Othello and Desdemona only, or who is moving to Cyprus?
Iago and his
Yeah.
wife.
Ah, yes.
His father,
Who else?
Gerbo.
I mean, yes, you're talking about a war. I mean, you can't have 4 or 5 people fighting an enemy. Obviously, you also have an army, the Venetian army, under the leadership of Othello, moving to Cyprus. Okay, fine. So, what do we expect? Are we the movement and the idea that there is a war? Um, are we expecting good news? Are we expecting um, good good things or what?
There is no good news if there is war, sir.
Yeah, if we're talking about a war, if we talk about a stormy place, if we talk about a coastal area, so obviously we have this hints at bad news, hints at bad happenings. When you have hints, okay, when you have things and signs that tell you that something is going to happen, this is called foreshadowing. In drama, we call it foreshadowing. So we have hints that something bad and bloody and negative is going to happen with the move from the stable, from the civilized Venice to the unpredictable and stormy Cyprus. Okay? So all is alarm and confusion as the engagement with the Turks. So obviously the Turks are the enemy. Okay, so they went in order to meet the Turks, to face them. Um, so Othello and Desdemona and Iago arrive safely in Cyprus. And again, we have more talk about Othello through Rodrigo and Iago. Again, this time around, they are discrediting Cassio. They are going to use Cassio, and Cassio is another assistant to Othello. Cassio is, of course, white, and he is in a rivalry with Iago. Iago is competing with him, but Cassio could win the heart and the mind of Othello, and Othello promoted him at the expense of Iago. So obviously, Iago is very angry. He believes that he, more than Cassio, deserves the promotion. Okay, so there is going to be this idea that Iago is going to use Cassio to further his ends. Cassio is very gentlemanly. He is behaving in a decent way, and when he talks to Desdemona, he talks to her in a nice way, in a civil way. And Iago is saying that perhaps I can use that against Cassio. I can say, or I can hint. Actually, he doesn't say. Iago doesn't say things directly. He's very sneaky. He in his mind he thinks he can hint at um, a relationship between Cassio and Desdemona. He's going to suggest and insinuate to Othello that something bad is that there is a love affair between Desdemona and Cassio. Okay, do you think that Othello will believe him? Remember, he doesn't say it directly. If he says it directly, perhaps Othello would dismiss him and say, "No, I trust my wife," for example. But he says it in an indirect way. Okay, so Othello, we don't know Othello yet, but we wouldn't be able to say whether he will believe what Iago is saying and insinuating or not. Okay, so we're now in Cyprus, and the act even starts with a storm, which does not obviously bode well. If the act starts with a storm, you normally feel that something bad is going to happen. So this is more or less like a premonition as well as a sign. It's a sign. It's like I said, it tells us that something um, bad will happen. So it's a sign of the instability of the world the characters now inhabit. So for the Venetians and also for the English, the sea was both the source of power and of danger. And then there is going to be opportunities where we would listen to what Iago has to say about love, and we will also listen to what Othello says about love. From our experiences with the two, we can almost tell that Iago's views of love are not very decent. For him, love is about the flesh, is about satisfying our desires. For Othello, love is noble. It's a union of two souls rather than two bodies. So Othello's concept of love is way different from Iago's, view of love. And by now, we have established the fact that Iago is the villain of the piece, for can expect very bad stuff to come out. And we have an example in which Othello is demonstrating his musicality and his poeticity. He is very decent. He says at one point that if it were now to die, it were now to be most happy. So he's obviously referring to the fact that he is happily married to this Desdemona, and if he has to die now, he will be so happy because he is married to this Desdemona. So obviously he doesn't have any animal references to the body or anything. For him, it's a union of the souls. Um, Again, Othello is going to also be away from the stage, like we have seen in Venice, and that would give Iago the opportunity to talk bad about him. So since Othello was absent much of the time in scene two, do you feel that the balance of the play at this point is shifting towards Iago? So if Iago is having the stage for himself, okay, and we only hear about Othello, so logically, the balance here is disturbed. You don't have a balance. You only have a balance when the two characters are presented and they are given enough time on the stage, right? So you have a chance to see Iago in action, maneuvering and crafting plots and everything using language and speaking. Remember, last time I warned you against the idea of admiring Iago. You can, you know, of course, that he is bad and everything, but sometimes you may appreciate his presence. He speaks, um, he is very inventive, and he speaks a language that is obviously way more complicated and more sophisticated than that of Rodrigo. So we're warning everybody against falling into the trap of appreciating or liking Iago. So, like we said, the balance is shifting towards Iago, despite the references to Othello in his absence. So we see Iago's technique of exploit, taking advantage of the weaknesses of those to whom he pretends loyalty to. He uses Cassio. He knows that everyone has a weakness, and he tries to take advantage of this weakness. He knows that Cassio uh, sometimes is given to drinking, and when he drinks, he becomes angry, and he is going to play on that. Again, these are qualities that we spoke about Iago, the fact that he was a professional actor, devious, controlling, and he has such an influence on pretty much everyone. Othello is soon to become his own victim. Again, that would be very strange given that the fact that Othello is a military leader. He should be able to see through people. Obviously, this part is missing in Othello, and this is part of his dilemma, the fact that he cannot read people's characters very well. He will fall easily into the trap of believing what Iago is saying. Again, we're again saying that Iago's energy can kind of be admired by people. And this is, of course, not a good thing to do. So, what's the plot? By now, you know what the plot is. We're talking about this um, idea of having Moor, somebody from North Africa, black, who comes to Venice, and he becomes the military leader of Venice. He doesn't obviously stop there. He falls in love with a white girl, and they get married. And this is something that is against the established order, and that would lead to white people conspiring against him, and he will finally fall like any tragic hero. Again, falling is a lesson that everybody has to take away at the end of the play. People or members of the audience will always remember what happened to Othello at the end when he subverted the established order by aspiring to become one with the whites and get married from their uh, daughter and everything. Here we have talk about the character of Othello. So you will have um critics talking about Othello, people who are for him, and you will also have people who are against him. This is on the one hand. You will also have critics who will talk about Iago and say whether Iago is totally responsible for the downfall of Othello, or was it Othello who helped him reach this conclusion. So we're starting with critical views on Othello, and we'll be talking about a number of critics who read the play and came up with assessments of the character of Othello. We're going to start off with the pro-Othello team. You have a number of people like A.C. Bradley who believe in Othello, who likes Othello very much. And when they talk about the downfall of Othello at the end, they normally find justifications for Othello, and they would say he didn't mean to do what he meant, what he did. It was all the plot and the conspiracy of um, Iago. So this is A.C. Bradley, and he is a pro-Othello critic. Pro means that he likes and who he supports, who he believes in. So he is a pro-Othello critic. So he wrote a very important study by the name of Shakespeare's Tragedy, and he believes that Othello is open and passionate and a lover, that the strength of whose passion inspired the love not only of Desdemona but the audience. So again, what he says is that he believes in Othello. Do we have people not being able to access the room? Let me see. No, I think we're all in. Right. Um, so we're talking about A.C. Bradley, who believes that Othello is open and passionate and a lover, um, whose passion um, did not only inspire and affect Desdemona, but the everybody else. And he speaks about his grandiloquence and the fact that he is very eloquent. Um, and in spite of the fact that Othello will end up killing his wife and become a murderer, he doesn't, uh, that didn't take away from the love and appreciation and the admiration that A.C. Bradley had for Othello. So we're talking about a murderer now, somebody who murdered his own wife, but A.C. Bradley is find justification, and he's going to say, no, this is not because he wanted to kill, not because he is a killer. Actually, he was pushed to do that by Iago. So according to Bradley, the view of the play is that the tragedy is the undoing of the noble Moor by the devilish cunning of Iago. So what Bradley is basically saying is that we are in front of a tragedy, and we are seeing the destruction of a noble Moor, and this destruction is meted out by Iago, the devil. So he believes that uh, if Iago was not there, Othello wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have killed his wife. So this is a pro-Othello critic, like we said. So as you can see, Bradley view that external evil, the malice of the demi-devil, is the thing that turned a happy story of romantic love um, into a tragedy. He says that the tragedy that we are here seeing is simply because of the external evil of whom? Of the demi-devil, and the demi-devil here is Iago, who turned a happy story of romantic love into a tragedy. Okay, now we're moving to anti-Othello critics. Critics who believe that Othello is totally responsible for what happened. They don't give Othello any justifications in killing his wife and then killing himself. So one of them happens to be T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot is a very famous American critic. He is totally anti-Othello. He believes that Othello uh, is totally responsible for his own downfall. So the poet and critic T.S. Eliot picked up what he saw as Othello's tendency to self-dramatize, especially in his final speech. He believes that Othello is ready to do anything so that people can talk about him and take pity on him. So he believes that Othello is a self-dramatizing guy. He wants to make a drama. You know, when we say that somebody is dramatic or melodramatic, sometimes you even have this expression. If somebody is exaggerating something, you say, "Don't be too dramatic," right? So Othello, according to T.S. Eliot, is a dramatic guy. He wants to make a show of what he is doing so that people can admire him, can take pity on him. He says that he is ready to go to any length to have that. And this is obviously very negative. And then we move to another anti-Othello critic, and this is F.R. Leaves. So F.R. Leaves believes that Bradley is sentimentalizing the tragedy and displaces its center. He said we need to remember that this is a tragedy, and whatever happened had to happen because it's a tragedy. So if you try to sentimentalize, I mean, this is what F.R. Leaves is telling Bradley. If you're going to sentimentalize the play, it ceases to become a tragedy, and it's going to lose one of its predominant features. Um, he says that too much attention tends to be paid to the character of Iago and his diabolic intellect. The plain fact continue. I mean, the plain fact is that in Shakespeare's tragedy of Othello, Othello is the chief personage. The chief personage in such a sense that the tragedy may fairly be said to be Othello's character in act. He says, if we keep saying that Iago is totally responsible, that Iago did this, Iago did that, so in this case, we're shifting the focus from Othello to Iago. So the play ceases, or the tragedy ceases to be about Othello, and it can now be Iago's, which means that we need to change the title and call, and instead of saying Othello, the tragedy of Othello, we can say simply Iago. He says that you need to be very kind of alert to the fact that by focusing on Iago, you are um, actually challenging the play or the original plan. The original plan would be that you have a tragedy where Othello is the main character. And we have F.R. Leaves, the anti-Othello critic against Wilson Knight. Wilson Knight is another pro-Othello critic. With Wilson Knight focuses on the idea that Othello, the character, is very musical. We spoke about that in chapter 1 last time. We said that his musicality can be felt all through, and that would bring in or attract people's attention. Again, F.R. Leaves is saying, yeah, this musicality is also is one of Othello's habits. He is trying to dramatize whatever happens to him. He's a self-dramatizing, self-approving guy. So he's saying that this is part of his makeup. This is part of his character, of Othello's character. Um, Again, F.R. Leaves is saying that um, um, Iago's success in convincing Othello that something is happening between Desdemona and Cassio and that she is betraying him is less because of Iago's diabolic intellect, and it is more prompted by Othello's readiness to respond. Othello is ready, and he only wanted a trigger in other words. So again, to say that Iago is totally responsible for what happened, according to F.R. Leaves, is wrong, is a misinterpretation. According to F.R. Leaves, the traitor is within the gates. He is saying that don't look uh, in Iago for a traitor. No, the traitor is when within the gates. It means that Othello himself is the traitor. He is betraying himself. He is betraying his wife by self-dramatizing and self-approving and making or creating opportunities where people can admire him, can feel pity or take pity on him. So he is, F.R. Leaves is simply saying that Iago is simply a mechanism necessary for precipitating the tragedy. He is trying to say that Iago is a mere tool, and obviously the user of the tool here is Othello. And then we move to the temptation scene. And as you can see, temptation is all about tempting something to behave in a certain way. So how does Iago tempt or manipulate Othello so as to enrage him against Cassio and Desdemona? So it's all the temptation scene is all about Iago trying to play on the weaknesses of Othello. He knows that he gets angry very easily. He knows that he is hot blooded. He knows that he is insecure because of his old age, because of his outside nature, the fact that he doesn't belong with the rest of the Venetian society, the fact that he is not given to civil life. So, do you agree with Leaves' view that Iago is just a dramatic mechanism whereby Othello's deeper fantasies are brought out, or is Othello really noble while lacking the necessary defenses against diabolic? So we're starting a debate where you have two groups of people. You have people who believe that Iago is instrumental and is very important in effecting the downfall of Othello, and you have the other group believing that it is Othello and his fantasies that brought about his downfall, and um, Iago is partly responsible, but not wholly responsible. So Marjorie Garber, a critic, believes or suggests that one of the ways Iago manages or tempts Othello is by being an echo, turning the meaning of his words again. So he keeps repeating what Othello is saying, and this is a technique, a very common technique, where you echo other people's what they say, so that they can kind of stop and reflect on what they are saying. So certainly Iago's apparently innocent repetition, he repeats words, a repetition of words like Othello's indeed, honest, and think, honest, my lord, think. So he keeps repeating them, and obviously this is a typical technique, pretending to avoid speaking the awful truth so as to protect his master from it. Again, this is part of the technique that Iago is using. Honest, my lord. So the temptation scene again, Othello's echo. And here is the exchange that we're talking about between Othello and Iago. So Othello, oh yes, and went between us very often. Iago, indeed. Othello, indeed. As you see, they are repeating the self-same words, indeed. Discerns thou ought in that. Is he not honest? So obviously Othello is starting to doubt Cassius and he is consulting Iago. And Iago, instead of saying yes or no, he's saying, honest, honest, my lord. So that would start something in Othello. Othello is going to start doubting uh, and suspecting that something wrong is going on between Desdemona and Cassius. Othello, honest? Hey, honest. My lord, for aught I know. I don't know. See how maneuvering Iago is. So what dost thou think? What do you think? Think, my lord? See, repetition and echoing. Othello, think, my lord, by heaven thou echoest me. Why do you echo me? As if there were some monster in thy thought. I mean, he realized that something is going on in the mind of Iago. And he's saying, by repeating me and by echoing me, it seems that you have some monster in your head, which is again alluding to the affair, the alleged affair between Cassio and Desdemona. So why is Othello so ready to accept Iago's insinuation? Insinuations, when you um, give indirect comments to somebody. So instead of telling him or her directly what your thoughts are, you beat around the bush. You're not being direct. So if you're not being direct, people get the message that something wrong is happening. So this is insinuations. These are allusions and comments that are implicit. So why is Othello so ready to accept Iago's insinuation? Why? Why do you think Othello is so ready to accept what Iago is saying about his wife, about the behavior of Cassio? Why? I'm asking you. Why? Why would he be ready to accept that? Any idea? No ideas? Look at the character of Othello. Look at his background. Look at what we said about him, right? So accept what? So Iago, Othello is ready to accept what? Let's set the tone for a minute. Accept the fact that there is an affair, a love affair between Cassio and Desdemona. Why do you think Othello is ready to accept that? Is ready to believe that this is happening? Any idea?
Because maybe he doesn't have a confidence because of his dark skin.
Excellent, excellent. What's your name?
Maryam, Maryam Dassa.
Mariam. Yeah, Mariam. Mariam is, yeah, very good. The fact that he doesn't have self-confidence, and this lack of self-confidence has to do with his dark skin. Yeah, good, yeah, Mariam. Any other ideas? Okay, perhaps Iago is so clever, is so cunning, maker, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So obviously, Iago is playing or taking advantage of what we call Othello's insecurities. The fact that Othello is insecure. Okay. One reason why Othello is insecure, like Mariam said, is because of the fact that he is dark skinned. Um, Cassio and Desdemona are white. Okay. Because of his old age, Cassio and Desdemona are young, right? Again, part of the problem would be that Iago is so convincing and he doesn't get things in a direct way, right? Othello
Yeah.
is also an outsider, like we said. Othello may not even believe himself. Why did she get married to me and I am old and dark skinned, right? Sometimes you don't believe yourself. Okay. So Shakespeare suggests that it is Othello's own insecurity that gives Iago the opportunity to work on his feelings. Okay, so the question is, why would Othello be insecure? Okay, for obvious reasons. He is the outsider, the stranger, the extravagant and willing stranger in a white community. He is portrayed as forever homeless, uprooted, and on the move, incapable of, at least so his enemies content, of ever being naturalized. He doesn't feel that he belongs. So he's ethnically different. He's a stranger. He's an outsider, right? He is old. He's dark skinned. These are all insecurities. And of course, Iago will play on them. Othello is a middle aged soldier accustomed to the exclusively male world of military life and quite unaccustomed to the company of women. Again, this is also another reason. Remember that Othello is all the time in the battlefield. So when a truce was declared between the Turks and the Venetians, he has no business. He will have to go back to civil life. But he is not trained to sit around idly in the city and chit chat and go to the market perhaps and go shopping. He's not used to this kind of life. He is used to, you know, to be in or to being in battles, fighting people, achieving victories, right? So that would be a problem. So when he goes to city life where there is no war, he wouldn't be able to deal with people. So if he sees his wife, for example, talking to Cassio, he would think the worst of both of them because he's not accustomed to that kind of behavior. So so when Iago tells Othello that Desdemona did deceive her father, marrying you, and when she seemed to shake and fear your looks, she loved them most. I mean, he's telling them, and this is also an insinuation that Iago is. He said he is telling him, by the way, she deceived her father. Why wouldn't she deceive you? Okay. So, who do we love the most in the world? Of course, we love our parents, your father and your mother, right? So, if, I mean, it is as if Iago is telling him, if she deceived her father by marrying you, why why are you dismissing the idea that she may at one point deceive you too? Right? Are you getting the point?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, yes.
Yes.
And again, we are referring to the fact that he is old, that he is not attractive, he's not handsome, while Cassio is. So these are insecurities that Iago was playing on. But the question remains, did Iago create these insecurities? Would did Iago is Iago responsible for the color, the skin color of Othello?
No.
No.
No,
Is he responsible for the fact that Othello is an outsider?
also no.
No.
Is he
Also no.
responsible for Othello being old?
No,
No. No.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say that those insecurities are built in within Othello. If he was self-confident, he would have kind of dismissed them, but he didn't. So to say that Iago is totally responsible for the downfall of Othello, what do you think of that? Now that we have spoken about those insecurities, do you think, I'm asking you, do you think that Iago is totally responsible for the downfall of Othello? I
Yeah,
didn't. Yeah.
Yes.
So you think that Iago is bad enough to prompt the downfall of Othello? How about those insecurities that obviously Iago has nothing to do with? He only took advantage of them. What do you think? We're starting a debate here. The debate has two teams: people who believe that Iago is responsible for the downfall of Othello, and those and the team who believe that Othello was responsible for his downfall through his insecurities. So which side are you on? Are you siding with? Mm. You're neutral, sure, you don't take any
Yeah.
sides. Yeah, go ahead.
It was 50-50, I think. So, since he was dark skinned and he had
I'm not
the
sure. I'm not sure I can hear you. I mean, you need to keep a distance between your mouth and the mic. Yeah, go ahead.
can we consider the two reasons?
Can we finish with the gentleman first? Um, do you
can
still
you
hear?
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I think it's 50-50 in my opinion, since he was black, dark skinned, and he
Mm.
had the insecurities already.
Yeah.
Not really insecurities since he was old, but it was amplified by
Mhm.
him.
By Iago, you mean?
Yes, he made it. He made Othello conscious of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah. What's your name?
Saeed.
Saeed what?
Saeed Najib.
Okay, Saeed. Thank you so much.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
the young lady, somebody wanted to say something.
Can we see the two reasons? Because Iago set him up, and he is didn't believe of his truth.
You're perhaps subscribing to what Saeed is saying, the fact that
Yeah,
it is true that we have the insecurities, but we have somebody amplifying and exaggerating them, right?
yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So Othello's insecurities about his race and age and lack of experience with women would intensify a tendency to expect the worst of the opposite sex. Obviously, this is not an excuse. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't go as far as to kill your wife, right? You would need, obviously, taking the decision or making the decision of killing somebody would uh, um, be a little bit, rash and immature. We need to think twice, right? So Othello does appear to some extent as the victim of Iago's cunning. But Shakespeare also makes it clear how much the hero resembles Iago and the other mere Venetians in his masculine pride and suspicious distrust of women. This is very important. What makes things even worse would be that women are involved. And when a woman is involved, you would go back to the idea of honor, to the idea of not trusting women. So it's Iago and Othello and all the males in the play, right? They have those misogynist feelings and beliefs and views of women. Misogynist means women hating. So the society at the time was male, was very distrustful of women. So that's why Othello was ready to accept the insinuations that Desdemona is playing around. Again, because she is a woman and the male members of society were distrustful of women. Othello's view of women, again, things are going to turn ugly, and he would also give us, um, images and ideas of women that would be very similar to those of Iago. Remember, we started off by saying that Iago um, he is using very animalistic images when he talks about women. Um, Othello, when he dwindles, when he goes down in status, when he goes down by believing and Iago, he will also use a language that is very similar of Iago. Again, Othello here, Othello and Iago are representing the male view of women. You would ask, where is this noble music that everybody is talking about when it comes to Othello? Where is his musicality? Obviously, musicality is against baseness, is against animalism, is about or is against the idea of comparing, forgetting about how noble a relationship can be between a man and a woman, and going down and describing it in animalistic manners. So it is true that Othello is still using poetry and music, but at the same time, we can see that we have a decaying set of values. Again, this is typical of Iago, but unfortunately, this is voiced out and given by Othello. So as you can see, you would legitimately ask the question of whether we're seeing another Iago in action by going down, by behaving in this very bad way. Are we seeing another Iago? Are we? Is Othello metamorphosed into another Iago? This is a legitimate question, obviously. So, do they both possess the same character after all? Yeah, perhaps, because they are two males in a male-dominated society that normally discredits women and does not trust them. And then we move to Act 3, Scene 3, which is obviously the climax, where you have a great deal of violence and death. Who is going to commit this violence? Obviously, it's going to be Othello, against whom? Against his own wife. And are we going to have death? Yes, we'll see the death of, uh, you know, Desdemona and even Othello. So we're moving uh, downward. We're not moving upwards where there is nobility and there is decency, and no, we're moving downwards towards violence and death and everything. Again, there is going to be encounters between Othello and Desdemona. And when Desdemona leaves, Othello would give remarks and comments, and they are, of course, uh, um, negative. Um, at one point, he would say, "Excellent wretch, perdition catch my soul, but I do love thee, and when I love thee not, chaos is come again." This is also some kind of foreshadowing and some kind of preparation for us. He says that I love you like I never did anybody, but if I stop loving you, chaos is come again. So chaos means that bad stuff is going to happen, and obviously bad stuff happened. The fact that he would kill her and everything. Again, we would hear more of his hyperbolic language, exaggerated language. You would say, for example, I love you at the risk of perdition or damnation. So it's either love, and if it's not love, it's perdition, loss, and damnation. And he says, it's as if he's saying, I am damned if I don't love you. So there is going to be chaos. Again, you would have this kind of musicality and this kind of self-dramatization. So it's Othello's grand self-image that we're having here. Again, we keep asking the question of whether what happened to Othello was a matter of Iago's manipulation of his fears and securities, or what. Again, is Iago, after all, a diabolic intellect, diabolic and devilish intellect, a consummate Machiavel or villain? And here we go to the point where um, he's going to keep asking this Desdemona about her handkerchief because, uh, um, again, Iago insinuated to him that the handkerchief can tell a great deal about the relationship between these two women. And she quite, uh, uh, innocently, she knows that that can be a source of problems and trouble, and she wouldn't say the truth about it, and that would augment the amount of anger that Othello is having. There will be occasions and opportunities where Cassio will be will meet Desdemona. Obviously, they meet for innocent reasons, not like what Othello is thinking, and Othello is going to kind of try to overhear them, like uh, um, what Iago was doing. So obviously, you're having Othello turning into another Iago. And of course, if you're angry and upset, you misinterpret what other people are saying, and even you misinterpret what you see. Can be an innocent encounter, but because you think that there something wrong is happening, you would interpret it in your own way. And then we move to what we call the melancholy scene. Melancholy means sad. So this is Act 4, Scene 3. And in this melancholy scene, we have Emilia, who happens to be Iago's wife, but so different from him. Emilia is good, and she also happens to be Desdemona's servant or maid servant. We have this scene where Emilia is preparing Desdemona for bed. Again, they would engage in talk about the role of women and how women are treated and everything. Again, there is going to be a great deal of foreshadowing, like we said. So this is an intimate moment between women, and that would sharply contrast with all the scenes between men, obviously because they are violent and rough and tough. Uh, so the men are all soldiers, courtiers, or senators, while the women, as you can see, you have a maid servant and her mistress, and they are talking about women issues. So as you can see, we have a moment of heightened tension. Again, it has to do with Desdemona relating a story that she heard from her mom, and it has to do with her grandmother having a maid servant by the name of Barbary. She was obviously in Africa, and she was in love with a male, and this male walked out on her, and she went insane. This is, as you can see, is a foreshadowing and is a parallel to what is happening. We also have this Demona falling in love and getting married to a black, and he would also abandon her and even um, kill her. Okay, so it relates the story of Barbary, and the word Barbary is very significant here. Who is Desdemona's mother's maid? She was possibly black. Whose lover, the lover of Barbary, whose lover proved mad and did forsake or give her up or abandoned her, and who died singing a song of widow. Who died? Of course, it's Barbary. She died because she was deeply in love with her lover, and obviously, this is going to also happen to Desdemona. So, the Willow song Desdemona is going to sing expresses female despair and longing and passive acceptance towards the lover. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. This is what this is a confusion. You don't know whether this is what Barbary said before dying or what Desdemona said before she died. That don't blame him if he kills me. I approve because I love him so much. I approve what he does, even at my own expense, um, at the risk of losing my life. It's very strange because this Demona in this scene, who is ready to kind of submit uh, and resign to her fate, who is ready to even be killed by her husband. It's the same Desdemona that we have met challenging an entire society and getting married to somebody from not within her ranks who is black. It's very strange that it's we're having the same woman, but obviously this time around she is uh, um, very submissive and very weak. Again, you would compare what Desdemona's action and how submissive and how weak she is to Emilia's speech, where Emilia is exhibiting signs of strength. She is proving to us, she is obviously talking about and for women, and she is saying that women have been um, dehumanized and maltreated by their male counterparts for so long, and this has to stop once and for all. So you can always compare Emilia to Desdemona at this stage, where Emilia is more assertive, is more courageous and powerful, and Desdemona is the complete opposite. So Emilia's last speech is a plea for recognition of women's equal humanity. She challenges the anti-woman sentiments expressed by so many of the male characters in that play, which is very daring, which is quite unexpected of a male servant or a maid servant, I'm sorry. So Emilia's lengthy defense of the rights of wives opens up the whole question of how women were treated at the time and later. This is what she said, and this is a very significant speech by Emily. And I'll give you a minute or two to read it and tell me what you have understood. Remember, this is Emilia, not Desdemona, surprisingly enough. But go ahead, give you a minute for that. Okay, so whatever you have understood. Hello.
She said that the woman have a right like a man.
Okay.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And if they fall, if they do something wrong, it's because of the behavior and action of their men, right? Mm. There was a great deal of talk about race, the color of people's skin. We're talking also about power and wealth and all these kinds of things. We're talking uh, throughout, we have seen examples of ideas about European and Christian superiority. The fact that if you're European and if you're Christian, you are superior to people who are not European or Christian, like uh, Othello. So if you think of those racial attitudes of the first audiences who watched Othello, of course, their attitudes would be very typical. They would be intolerant of this kind of interracial marriage between Desdemona and Othello because he is black and she is white. Of course, would have that would have angered and upsetted people. They would feel that they were betrayed by having a black individual getting married to a white lady. So their reaction would be one of um, refusal, rejection, and all these kinds of things. And we have examples. Queen Elizabeth I had ordered the deportation of Negroes and black Moors from England on the grounds that they were depriving her own Christian people from jobs. See how racist that is. So you don't talk about tolerance anymore. You talk about racial hierarchy where Desdemona is on top and Othello is at the bottom. And if this racial hierarchy is subverted, of course, the two will suffer. And this is what we have seen. It's the self same thing. The idea that you have racial um, considerations and you also have gender considerations. Don't think that being a white woman was an advantage. So it is true that Desdemona is white, but she is a woman, and women were treated badly. So if you're not black, you are a woman, right? What happens if you're black um and from another country or another culture? Obviously, that would make it even worse. Again, we're talking about patriarchal domination where and gender inequality where men would be yeah, at the top and women would come much later. Again, it's all about gender in the case of Desdemona, the woman, and race in the case of Desdemona. The two of them are equally put at a disadvantage in different way. So basically talking about just that the idea that um, the play has different power structures and gender roles and all of that. We shouldn't also lose sight of the fact that the play is a tragedy, and we spoke about what a tragedy is. We spoke about a tragic hero who is exceptional and talented in everything except for the fact that he has a flaw, and we call this flaw a hamartia, and this flaw brings about his downfall. So when he falls down at the end, we as members of the audience feel this kind feel purged, that we are cleansed of our excessive emotions and feelings, and this is called catharsis. So catharsis is the purging and the cleansing of excessive emotions when we see the tragic hero falling, and when we feel pity and fear. So we might feel catharsis and sympathy towards the tragic hero, especially in the final scene. Again, you would have, racist critics like Reimer believing that Othello shouldn't have been the hero of the piece on grounds of race and class. And then this is the act where eventually Othello will kill Desdemona and then kill him. This is, of course, very tense and dramatic, and in which everybody is obviously hurting everybody else. So you have Cassio being wounded by Rodrigo, and Rodrigo is stabbed and killed by Iago. So as you can see, you have lots of blood being shed. So Othello enters Desdemona's sleeping chamber with a light and utters this memorable and yet strange, almost incoherent. It is the cause, my soul. Let me not name it to you, you chaste darts. It's the cause, yet I'll not shed her blood, nor scar that whiter skin of hers than snow, smooth as monumental alabaster. So he decides, I mean, he admires her, and he admires her beauty and her whiteness and everything. And he said, that's what I'm not going to kill her where bloodshed is going. He's going to strangle her. I mean, strangling her is killing, but by suffocating somebody. See, this is an adaptation where you, as you can see, he is about to strangle her. Again, it's all about, praising her while getting ready to kill her. This is very control. This is a contradictory that we have, a contradiction that we have. So again, the question remains: who is Othello? Is Othello a deluded, self-important fool, or a noble hero brought down by circumstance? You need to ask yourself at the end. And then you go back to Leaves and T.S. Eliot saying that he was a uh, um, deluded, self-dramatizing individual who was making scenes, and he was creating opportunities so that people can admire him. And you would also go back to other critics believing that it is through the agency of Iago that Othello was brought down to his knees. Again, it's up to you, but you have to prove your point. You need to prove whether Othello is the traitor within the gate, or he was the victim of the diabolic intellect of Iago. And you have his speech, and where you need to make up your mind whether you think he is noble or otherwise, or, or villain, self-deluded, Christian, unchristian, all these kinds of. Again, he would commit suicide, and that would, kind of conclude this. So why did he kill himself? Obviously, he killed himself because he thinks that it's either um, there is love or destruction, and if love is no more, uh, um, he destroys everything, including himself. But this is basically what the play is all about. It's as you can see, it's full of ideas, interesting ideas. As you can see, you need to um, read the two chapters very well. You need to come up with your own interpretations of what happens. And it wouldn't hurt if you write something, a reflection. Reflect on what you have heard and what you have read, and come up with assessments of the character of Othello, assessment of the character of Iago, make comparisons between Desdemona and Emilia. These are ideas that you can engage yourself with. Um, do you have any questions before we call it a night, everyone?
Yeah, Dr. Me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I am.
Dr. We can conclusion this plays has two themes, honor and love.
I'm not sure I understood you. Come again. Say that again.
This plays, Doctor, this
Yeah,
play has
yeah.
two themes, love and honor, right?
Love and honor. It has so many themes. I mean, you're talking about race. You're talking about established order. You're talking about the play being a tragedy and having the elements of a tragedy. You're talking about so many things, as a matter of fact. Okay, the more you read, the more ideas you will come up with. Yeah, I am.
Doctor,
Doctor,
when we have first quiz,
I think I wrote on the LMS page. Did you check the LMS page?
it's wrote in week 3.
Yeah. And what else did I say? Wait,
Out of 7 marks.
what else did I say? Did I specify a day next week?
No,
Sure.
I didn't found it.
You didn't find it?
Yeah.
Just wait. Okay. So quiz one, week 3 out of 7 marks on LMS. Okay. So we're going to say okay. Is that clear? Let me make it bigger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doctor, did you mean chapter 1 and 2?
Yes, I mean, yeah, that's correct. Are they, is Othello in chapter 1 and 2?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's say covers between brackets, we can say. How about that?
Doctor,
Yes.
do we have online activities?
The online activities are the quizzes, yeah. The quizzes that I am um, telling you about. Okay? Is that clear, يا جماعة?
Yeah, clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor?
Doctor, the quiz
Doctor.
will be multiple questions. Is there will be any essays or
Yeah, nice. It can be both. It can be multiple choice questions and a small essay. Okay? I'll check and let you know. Clear, everyone? So Wednesday is, let me check. Wednesday is what? I think Wednesday is going to be the 29th, right? So it's going to be June 29th.
دكتور 29
Yes.
ايه خلاص شكرا.
Okay. Clear, everyone? طيب. On this note and with this item, we'll come to the end of today's class. If you need anything, you can always use the WhatsApp group, but keep it social. Social in the sense that you don't send stuff at late at night. You don't ask questions late at night. Okay, keep it between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Okay. Okay.
Okay, Doctor.
Bye. I'll see you. So this is the second day. Yeah, we're meeting tomorrow, by the way, right?
Yes,
So we're meeting
Allah, inshallah.
tomorrow at this.
Yes.
I'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
have a good day, Doctor.
وعليكم السلام.
Thank you, Doctor.
دكتور
Now.